I had to learn how to share my computer screen, and my laptop is where the camera is at.
Mm-hmm.
So we're opening up, and it's coming up this panorama. It's like, no, let's not do that. Because at the office, I keep it shut so I can use my big monitor easy. And I really don't want people watching me work.
That's fair.
I'm sure I will want to see my hurricane struck cube, but all the files I'm closing.
And you know, it's okay unless you're doing a scene here. You're never gonna absolutely get rid of
Because you got to have it to move in.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the front scene, back scene, the two piece doesn't come into play until at least late 15th century, early 16th century. It really isn't it's not, to my knowledge, I've not seen a two piece sleeve in anything 14th century.
No, I haven't either.
If somebody knows about two piece sleeves in 14th century, I would really like to know more about that. I don't know about that. I mean, they're much easier to really create that banana sleeve smooth.
With the two piece.
Yeah.
So I know there's some really wild seaming in the pourpoint of Charles de Blois.
Mm-hmm.
Blois? I don't know.
Well, the hinge.
But I don't think it's hinged at the elbow, but I don't think it's got a two-piece like the way you're talking about.
And I think
And it's also got the really deep shoulder.
Yeah, and the grand Assiette.
Yeah.
I took French in high school,
Me too.
and I can't pronounce a damn thing.
It was 20 years ago.
Oh, you're such a kid.
No. Oh, wait. Shoot, that was a pattern.
Let's see what we're coming up on. Yeah. Too many class reunions.
All right.
So actually,
Move, monkey, move.
That one does have, it's in two pieces, but it's not two equal pieces. As well as being
That one actually I could
two
do
pieces
what
the
I
other way
need to
around.
do.
Mhm. And what's really nice is you could really take them in much more snugly
Yeah.
if you were pinning the sleeves on
Right.
or setting the sleeve. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all right. I needed to have. I kind of went a little nutso there, so we add things back in. All right, so here's another factor of why I like staplers. So
Let's show it to
I took this too deep, and this is not coming back in, so she's got this weird, basically gusset.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to come back in, and mind you, I need to trim this down, so this might actually adjust itself. But I have to add here for this to stay snug down here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for the gusseting, literally, I come in, and I can add my fabric without a lot of fuss. And I quite literally learned this technique reading a Threads article. So we're going to adjust. Let me see if I can find white chalk. So you know how you like, did anybody else like using fresh chalk? I dropped this, it's all broken now.
What is it?
It's chalk.
Oh,
It's a
chalk.
brand new case of chalk I got myself. I dropped it today cleaning it, and so now every piece is broken.
Oh, no.
So it's
Oh, no.
Oh no.
yeah, it's chalk. It works, but you know that joy of like that opening up a brand new packet of something.
Yes. Scott really enjoys using chalk. I realize I should, but I don't. I honestly use markers
Yeah,
and pens when I
don't.
pattern.
I try to find a marker that's as close to my fabric color, but I can still see. And that way if I boo-boo, I can...
Well, I mean, for this kind of thing, for patterning, for both flat patterning and draping, I like markers.
So,
because I'll color code them.
So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to add sleeve head back in, because I've been focusing on the lower portion.
And it's pulled down.
And it's pulled it down, which is fine, that's just the way it works. But you could stop here, and these could be lovely Flemish sleeves that get pinned on. So, all right, let's go ahead and rip this off you.
Whoops, you're still attached, dear.
Oh, good, I stapled you in. I thought, my apologies, I did not. It looks like it's been bitten by a vampire, that's all. Everything didn't tear anything. Oh dear. So, what I'm going to do is, and then I'm going to use some more of this. We're going to go, so patterning is kind of a permutation process. This is the first iteration of almost. So this is what we've added back in. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to cut up right up on where we had things and eliminate seam allowance, because I want to add seam allowance in a fresh, clean piece. And this is snug, but we're going to keep it here. All right, and then what I want to do is round that. So basically, this is what we're almost there. I'm pretty pleased with where we are so far. Now to work out. Okay, so what I'm going to do from here is...
So I've always patterned with the modern patterns. I've had to tweak with modern patterns and adjust them, but I've always started with them. So this is all voodoo to me.
And see, modern patterns are really, really different for the most part.
They are very different
from period patterns.
Yes.
What period are you mostly doing?
Me or?
Dye.
It depends upon my mood.
Okay.
Generally 1400s, 1500s.
Okay.
The persona is 1200 AD, but yeah.
Right, I'm gonna have to add
that was created 30 years ago, and I've kind of evolved since then a little bit. I'm doing more of the German now. More and generic. So I love the German Tudor look. It's just a lot of fuss, and I don't get around to it very often.
Having literally just made a German Tudor era.
Yeah, well,
I understand
it's Tudor
this.
era. I know. Yeah,
yeah, it's complementary to Henry VIII
period.
Yeah, thank you. My brain is working really faster than my mouth is, so it's like my words are getting clogged.
Yeah.
Well, so
I definitely learned from using that stupid Berta pattern not to follow that Berta pattern.
So, I mean, would you like to see how funky your arm is? So our friend Di's arm is funky. So is yours. I have my pattern, and this is too big for me. And it works. It sews together perfectly. It is funkier than whatever. So, all right. So, Di, with your permission,
Go for it.
and then, and I'm
get this out of scissors reach. I'm just terrified
Yeah,
she's going to
no,
catch it
That's fair.
and mess the scissors up. I'm not worried about it.
This is one of those perfect like editing moments to get the flow of fabric.
I said, I will never make anything but patterns out of this and mask linings.
So I can see it better.
And at one I don't even know where it came from. I have lots of fabrics like that where they just sort of morph into my sewing room.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm basically loosely coming out. And okay, folks, I'm eyeballing it, but I have found that I have been doing this enough years that I actually can eyeball a decent line. So
I like how you're using your finger too.
just dropping that on my
Probably
foot would
pretty
be-
close to 5/8 of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
Standard seam allowance ish.
And I mean, again, I'd rather be too much to have to cut it down again. So I'm going to bring this up because like this is an inch.
Mm-hmm.
So and you have a real gentle S, which is basically what we're going for. Now you can choose all in one, or you can choose, some people do that gusset, the separate gusset. It really is to taste and preference. I think they're both
All in one.
Yeah.
All in one. The simple as
No.
It can also affect, depending on the bias that the gusset is cut at and the grain line of the fabric, it can affect how your shoulder movement works. You'll get a bit more bendiness in the fabric.
And everybody, I do this, I still do this. I still want to true this all nice and straight. And that's just, if I were to straighten this out completely, we'd start all over again, which is dumb. But I still do that. So I brought it back out again because I'm accommodating for seams. And what I want to do is I'm actually going to, we can staple you back in, or I can sew a seam real quick
that is entirely up to you.
for fine tuning that. So, but you want to keep that. I mean, that's something you can use for other bits of fun. Poor Di, when she came over and we were working on a project with her, I just kind of took over and I'm like sitting down and I'm just going to do it. It'll just take me a moment. It'll be, not even considering, well, maybe she wanted to actually do the work.
Fortunately, I'm a very visual learner.
So she's like, so am I supposed to be doing anything on this project? Oh yeah, eventually. But my brain goes and it's like I'm trying to work ahead in my brain. So, and my ability to describe what to do is not good. So, all right, so definitely bigger. And when we put it on you, it's going to be significantly bigger. However, we got back sleeve head.
So I'm gonna make a suggestion. Pull
Maybe
your
you move
sleeve.
this way and go
Her,
this
she's
way.
doing it.
Yes. But also tug the black sleeve down so that it's not riding up at her neck, because that's what happened last time. Yeah.
So
this t-shirt moves.
It does.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm just saying, if I were doing this at home for myself, I would be wearing either a sports bra or
a very tight t-shirt that did
well, or the underdress that I would be planning to wear under the finished garment.
Yeah.
Loose t-shirt is
not ideal for
well,
doing
you
this.
work around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our ability, I mean, it's us adapting to what we have to work with. That's all. So, alright. New machine, and it's not everything's where you think it is.
Yeah, part of why I didn't volunteer to be Barbie doll was because this shirt would be annoying to work on. I didn't think about that when I got dressed this morning.
I didn't either. I was just like, I was going grocery shopping. Oh yeah, I have to go to a class after this. Oops. And you realize you haven't been to the grocery store in almost a month. Yeah, there's a little bit of grocery shopping that needs to be done.
Oven cleaner fumes are fun.
I apparently drove through a slash pile Sunday coming home and spent Monday feeling like a toddler with a cold.
Oh, you are videoing it.
Yes.
What?
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
we decided not to do a live stream because that didn't work out really well. We're going to post it to YouTube afterwards. I just commented to someone
Okay.
who was
Cool.
looking
Yeah,
for it.
somebody else asked me about that. Cool. Thank you. Come up here, Daddy.
Should have done the live stream. We should have done the live stream.
Well, people were expecting a live stream?
Well, I said that we were going to video it. I didn't actually specify one way or the other.
Alright, we get to go to your other arm because I'm smart. I like the seams on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
However, that and not bad.
Darn, you're perfect.
I'm pleased.
Yeah.
He's a good girl. Who's a good Darby doll? Who's a good Darby doll? So, and honestly, I mean, I could bring this in. At this point in time, I would rather be able to fit this in appropriately to a bodice or an arm side for you to make certain it absolutely works. Now I can bring this in more.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, stapler. Yay, stapler.
Yeah, I like the idea of setting the seam and then cutting it off the top, the excess off. It's like, oh, that makes sense.
I mean, the more I was pushing, this started coming down and coming down and coming down. So it's very clear I had to add sleeve bed back in.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to fit 3-dimension here.
Right.
And I'm wanting you to have a fully see, and look, this is literally how much I added back in all around.
Yeah.
So we can.
And not everybody's going to be pulling a roast out of the oven or slicing onions or whatever the other stuff I'm doing that I do.
I'm just getting friendly here, and I'm finding the bone structure. You want to follow bone structure when you're patterning. That's makes sense to me. It's what I was taught by a very amazing teacher years ago, and it's just something that has always stayed with me. Always, just follow the bone structure.
That makes sense. I mean, even when you're taking and altering a paper pattern, you have to look at the bones to figure out where you have to alter it. If they no longer fit a paper pattern.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Even to my little brain.
So let's. I can't reach in and tug your sleeve down, but I can hold on to this. So.
This one was writing up, that one's writing down. Can't win.
Why not?
Do you need your pins?
Would help if I were holding it correctly. I'm just holding it over.
Well, it actually makes more sense than the desktop, the handhelds, than the desktops. I see if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to get one like this to work it. Because that thing isn't going to work.
No, yeah.
The standard, I'm going to want to,
more
more of a
compact.
handheld. I've got them for work, I don't have them for here.
So I'm literally looking at it going, why won't it work? There we go. But this is a sewing line here, so that's why I'm folding it. All right, let me move around you. Look at your front. I want to know. Flourish, y'all. This I may have to snip in. And we can phase this as many times as you wish. Here, let me play with your armpit. All right. What do you think?
Feels good.
Yeah, looks good.
I can do what I need to do.
I'm gonna leave it that way, and then it can be fine because you wanna, that's a decent seam allowance. It's a nice big seam allowance for you to play with, and that way you still have room to take it in or take it out however you want. But are you able to move?
Yeah. I said I'm able to move. I'm able to do what I need to do, which is
And with the sleeves being anchored to the gown, they're not going to slide down your body as much.
Right.
However, that's
when you can fine tune the shoulder fit.
Yeah, that's when we would fine tune the shoulder, but that's a good start right there. So that's it's not a completely finished like you're going to move on to garb next.
Right.
But we would fine tune
the pattern,
the final bits. But I'm pretty confident with that would be actually usable. You have a number of different ways to do. You could use this for a solid sleeve Saxony German gown, which is what I did. So there you go.
Awesome.
Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy.
So
Now let me fold that over. And it's a little bit, it's fussy and it looks weird but this gives you your sewing line, clearly working out seam allowances versus not, and you can true things up as you need to. But for the most part, and we can pull this apart and you can see the shape. Cotton tear is weird. now that we're. I can see a bunch of seamstresses out there going to be looking at that and going, "What the hell is she doing?"
Mm-hmm.
But even better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
mean-
it looks like a sleeve.
There you go. And when you want to move it to a more fine-tuned to work with the bodice of any type,
Mm-hmm.
happy to do that.
Awesome.
Because I'm a big believer that once you have a pattern that you can work with, you can make anything. I mean, really, getting the pattern well fit is half of it. And because sewing is fun, it's just getting it all organized to sewing. Or you get to sew occasionally. You do a lot of pressing in between.
Yes.
Or is it you do mostly pressing and
Yeah.
you sew a seam?
And then you press some more.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Awesome.
but I'm bump. Next victim?
Well, let's